Folks, ever heard this gem? People only appreciate the sun when it's suddenly raining cats and dogs. Funny how true that is, huh? They don't notice the cozy warmth of your care until, bam, you're off living your life like a boss, and they're left out in the cold, clutching a soggy umbrella. Let's talk about that sweet, sweet power shift when you stop feeding the fire and let it burn out. My friends, here's the deal. When you care too much, it's like handing someone the remote to your life. They're flipping through your channels, binge-watching your kindness, and barely glancing up to say, "Oh, thanks, that's cool." But when you pull the plug, oh boy, suddenly they're left staring at a blank screen, hitting buttons like, "Hey, where'd the show go?" Let me set the scene for you. Picture this. You're a never-ending buffet of care, love, and attention. They stroll in, load up their plate, and walk off without so much as a thank you. But one day, the buffet closes. The lights go out. The all-you-can-eat sign gets replaced with "closed for renovations." Now they're starving, and guess what? There's no drive-through open at midnight. Why? Because people get way too comfortable with what's freely given. They think your kindness is like free Wi-Fi, always on, always there, and completely taken for granted. Then, when you disconnect, they're wandering around like, "Why's nothing working? Where's my signal?" And here's the kicker, your indifference. It's not just silence, it's a megaphone. It screams, "I'm done. Find your own Wi-Fi hotspot, buddy." Now, let's be real. You stopping the care train isn't about being petty or playing games. It's about flipping the script. You're no longer the backup generator for someone else's life. You've decided to invest all that time and energy into the only person who truly deserves it, yourself. Mark Twain once said, "Never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their option." Let's chew on that one for a second. You've been bending over backward, handing out VIP passes, while they're out there acting like you're a last-minute afterthought. Well, guess what? The VIP section's closed, my friends, and they're suddenly realizing how much they miss the view. Here's another fun way to think about it. Your care is like a favorite song. They've been playing it on repeat, humming along, and not even noticing how good it is. But one day, you hit pause, and now, they're walking around with the chorus stuck in their head, missing the melody they didn't appreciate while it was playing. So, what's really going on when you stop caring? It's a total power shift. You're no longer the one chasing, explaining, or trying to fix things. You're like the sun that decided to take a vacation. Suddenly, their world's a little darker, a little colder, and they're scrambling to figure out why. Think of it this way. When you step back, you force them to step up or step out. It's not about revenge, it's about balance. You're saying, "Hey, I'm not a doormat. If you want my energy, you better start matching it." So buckle up, folks. We're about to dive into why your indifference hits them harder than any fight, text, or confrontation ever could. And trust me, this isn't just a lesson for them. It's your wake-up call too. You're not the backup singer in someone else's show. You're the headliner. Time to start acting like it. Now here's the deal, my friends. This isn't just a conversation. It's a call to action. No more second-guessing, no more waiting for someone to wake up and see your worth. Here's your challenge. Drop the phrase, "I choose myself," in the comments right now if you're ready to flip the script, take back your power, and stop pouring your energy into what doesn't serve you. And hey, don't keep this to yourself. There's someone out there who needs this reminder just as much as you do. Hit that like button, share this video, and let's spread this message far and wide. Together, we're rewriting the rules and reminding the world that true strength comes from within. You're not chasing anymore. You're leading. Ready to step into that power? Let's go, folks. It's time to show them what happens when you stop caring and start thriving. Number 1. The thrill of the chase dies when you're always there. Folks, let me ask you this. Have you ever tried to watch a movie you've already seen 20 times? By the third act, you're scrolling on your phone, barely paying attention. That's what happens when you're always available to someone. They know the plot, they know the ending, and worst of all, they stop caring about the story. But what happens when you stop showing up? That's when they start wondering what they've been missing. Let's get brutally honest for a second. When you're always there, answering every call, replying to every text, dropping everything for them at a moment's notice, you're not just being nice. You're making yourself predictable. And guess what? Predictability kills value faster than anything else. People don't appreciate what's always in front of them. Why? Because it's human nature to crave what's out of reach. Think about it. When something is too easy to get, we automatically assume it has less value. Imagine walking into a candy store where everything's free. Sounds amazing, right? But after a while, you're grabbing handfuls without even tasting the flavor. That's what overcaring does to you. You become their endless supply, their fallback, their emotional safety net. And when they're full, they walk away without a second thought. But here's the kicker. They're not walking away because they don't care about you. They're walking away because they think you'll always be there. They've built this comfy little illusion in their mind that no matter what they do, no matter how little they give, you'll keep showing up. And let me tell you, folks, that illusion, it's time to shatter it. People like to tell themselves convenient little lies to avoid accountability. Oh, they'll understand. They'll wait for me. They're always there for me. These lies, they're the foundation of the comfort zone you've built for them. You've been so consistent, so reliable, that they've convinced themselves they can take you for granted without consequences. But let me drop a truth bomb here. The moment you step back, the moment you stop overcaring, the moment you show them you're not a guarantee, that's when the real story begins. Because when they realize they're no longer the center of your universe, they'll feel the shift like a cold wind blowing through an empty room. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if they leave for good? What if I stop caring and they never come back? My friends, let me tell you something. This fear is the chain keeping you stuck in a cycle of overgiving. But here's the truth. If someone only stays in your life because you're bending over backward to make it easy for them, they were never really there for you in the first place. The real question isn't, what if they leave? It's, what if I stay stuck in a dynamic where I'm not valued? Walking away, stepping back, stopping the overcaring. Yeah, it's hard. It feels like jumping off a cliff without knowing if there's a net. But here's the thing about cliffs. Sometimes, the only way to discover you can fly is to jump. So why do people think they can take you for granted? It's simple. They're used to it. You've trained them to expect that you'll always be there, no matter how little effort they put in. And listen, I'm not blaming you. You were just trying to show love, support, and loyalty. But here's a hard truth. Love that isn't reciprocated turns into a one-sided contract. And no one thrives in a relationship where only one person is holding up the weight of two. People take advantage of what's consistent because it feels safe. They assume it'll always be there. But when you pull away, when you stop being their emotional vending machine, they're forced to face a reality they never considered, a world where they don't have unlimited access to you. Here's the good news. You can rewrite the story. The moment you stop overcaring, you take the pen out of their hands and start writing your own script. You're no longer the predictable background music. They can't tune you out because your silence is deafening. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." I'd add to that, if it doesn't value you, don't stay in it. Your time, your energy, your care, they're not infinite resources. They're treasures, and it's time you started treating them that way. This isn't going to be easy. Stopping the cycle of over-caring feels like going against everything you've been taught about love and relationships. But let me tell you something. True love doesn't demand that you shrink yourself to fit someone else's needs. True love is mutual respect, mutual effort, and mutual growth. And if they're not ready to meet you halfway, it's time for them to realize what life looks like without you. Number 2, the black hole of indifference. Let me set the scene for you, my friends. Imagine you're a lighthouse, standing tall, casting your light over someone's stormy sea. They've been navigating their ship, completely dependent on that beam of light to guide them. But instead of appreciating it, they sail on as if it'll always be there. Then, one day, the light goes out. Darkness, silence, and just like that, they're lost at sea, fumbling in the black void, desperate to find what they took for granted. That's what happens when you pull back and stop pouring your energy into someone who doesn't reciprocate. Your attention, your care, your effort, it's been their safety net, their guiding force, and now that it's gone, they're left stumbling, trying to figure out how to fill the void you left behind. Here's the beauty of indifference. People crave what they can't have. The moment you detach, the script flips. What was once predictable and easy to access is now mysterious, out of reach, and suddenly valuable. It's like air. They never think about it until they can't breathe. Your absence creates a vacuum, a black hole they can't escape, and it pulls them in, forcing them to confront the reality of life without you. Why does indifference hit so hard? Because it forces them to question everything. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they could get away with giving the bare minimum while you carried the weight of the connection. But now they're stuck in their own heads, replaying every moment, wondering why you've pulled back, and more importantly, what they can do to fix it. Your energy, my friends, is not infinite. It's a precious, finite resource, and pouring it into someone who doesn't value it is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much you give, it'll never be enough because they're not ready to hold it. Stoic wisdom teaches us to focus only on what we can control: our actions, our reactions, our boundaries. You can't control how someone values you, but you can control how much access you give them. When you step back, it's not about being cold or cruel. It's about reclaiming your power. You're no longer the one chasing, explaining, or convincing. You're creating space, not just for them to feel the weight of your absence, but for yourself to find clarity and peace. That space, it's where your growth happens, and it's where they start to spiral. Let me paint you another picture. Think of your attention as a cozy fire on a winter night. They've been sitting by it, warming their hands, enjoying its glow. But they never thought about how much effort it takes to keep that fire going. The wood, the care, the time. Then, one day, the fire goes out. Suddenly, the warmth they took for granted is gone, and the cold sets in. Now they're scrambling to find the spark they didn't appreciate when they had it. Here's the thing, this isn't about manipulation. It's not about punishing them for not seeing your value. It's about letting reality teach them a lesson your words never could. Your indifference is their wake-up call. It's a mirror reflecting their actions, or lack of them, right back at them. And let me tell you, my friends, that reflection isn't always pretty. But what about you? Let's be real. Pulling back isn't easy. It feels counterintuitive, even scary. You're breaking a pattern you've been stuck in for far too long, and that takes courage. You might worry they won't notice, that they'll move on without a second thought. But let me tell you something. Silence speaks louder than words, and your absence will echo in their mind louder than any argument ever could. This is your moment to rise above the fear, to stop running on empty, and to reclaim your time and energy. You're not just stepping back from them, you're stepping into yourself. And that, my friends, is where your true power lies. Here's your affirmation. My energy is too precious to waste on what doesn't serve me. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a declaration to yourself, to them, and to the world around you. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer overgiving. You're standing tall, holding your ground, and letting them feel the pull of your absence. And trust me, they're feeling it. The black hole of indifference. It's just the beginning. The ripple effects of your detachment are only starting to unfold, and the next part of this journey will shake them even more. Ready to see what's coming next? Stick with me. It's about to get even more interesting. Let's keep going. Number 3. You were the sun. Now they're freezing in the shadows. Imagine this, my friends. You were the sun in their world. Day after day you rose, casting your light over their life. You warmed their cold moments, illuminated their dark days, and gave them a sense of comfort they didn't even realize they depended on. They basked in your glow like it was their birthright, never stopping to wonder what life might look like if the sun didn't show up one morning. Then, one day, it happens. The sun disappears. And now, they're freezing in the shadows, stumbling in the dark, left wondering how they ever took that light for granted. This isn't just about you pulling back. It's about them feeling the sting of your absence in a way they never thought they would. See, people get so used to the light that they forget it's a gift, not a guarantee. They assumed you'd always be there, orbiting their life, brightening their world, no matter how much or how little they gave in return. But when you step away, when you stop shining for someone who never appreciated the glow, they're left with nothing but cold, harsh reality. Here's where it hits the hardest. Your absence forces them to confront a truth they've been ignoring all along. You weren't just someone in their life. You were the one who gave a damn when nobody else did. You were the source of the warmth they relied on, the foundation of the connection they thought they could take for granted. Without you, they're left shivering, realizing they didn't lose someone. They lost you. And let me tell you, my friends, that realization stings in ways they never saw coming. Think about it this way. You've probably seen someone sit by a fire on a chilly night, enjoying its heat, leaning back, and not giving a second thought to the work it takes to keep that fire burning. They don't notice the person adding logs, tending the flames, making sure it doesn't go out. They just enjoy the warmth. But when that fire dies out, they feel the chill immediately. And now they're scrambling, desperate to reignite what they didn't appreciate while it was burning. That's what your absence does. It forces them to see what they've lost in stark, undeniable terms. Psychologically, this is a wake-up call for them. Your absence isn't just about physical space. It's emotional space too. The spotlight they were so used to is gone, and now they're left in the shadows, questioning why they ever assumed it would last forever. They'll replay moments in their mind, times you showed up for them, times you gave them your care, your attention, your love, and they'll feel the weight of what they let slip away. It's not just regret. It's a deep, gnawing realization that they didn't value what they had until it was gone. But here's the truth, my friends. This isn't about them. It's about you. You stepping back isn't a punishment. It's self-preservation. You're not the sun for someone who refuses to shine back. You're not here to be someone's constant while they give you nothing in return. The sting they feel now. That's their lesson, not your responsibility. And yes, it's hard to step away, to stop giving your light to someone who doesn't appreciate it. But remember this: your energy, your warmth, your love, it's precious. It's not for those who take it for granted. Let's be clear, this moment of silence, this cold realization they're experiencing, it's a reflection of their choices, not yours. You didn't fail them, they failed to see your worth. And now that you're gone, they're left fumbling in the dark, feeling the sting of the spotlight they lost. Here's your affirmation: I am the light, and I choose where I shine. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a declaration, to yourself, to them, and to anyone else who needs the reminder that you're not an endless source of warmth for those who leave you in the cold. And let me tell you something, this is just the beginning. The sting they feel now, it's the first crack in the illusion they built around your presence. What comes next will shake them even more. Curious? You should be. Let's keep going, my friends. The best is yet to come. Number 4. Curiosity turns into obsession. You were once an open book, my friends. They could skim through your pages whenever they wanted, skipping the deep chapters and landing on the parts that suited them. They thought they had you figured out, like a predictable plot line they could revisit whenever it was convenient. But now you've become a locked journal, sealed tight, with the key just out of reach. And let me tell you, there's nothing more maddening than a story they can't finish. Here's where it gets interesting. Your silence, your refusal to explain, to justify, to keep giving them updates on your life, becomes a mystery they can't solve. It's like the last slice of cake at a party. They didn't notice it while it was sitting there, untouched. But the moment it's gone, it's all they can think about. They're asking themselves questions they never cared to consider before. Why did they pull back? Did I do something wrong? Who are they spending their time with now? The curiosity eats at them, gnawing away at their ego like termites in an old wooden chair. This isn't just a passing thought for them. It's a spiral. When you were always available, always open, they didn't have to wonder. They didn't have to work to understand you, because you made it easy for them. But now that you've stopped explaining yourself, they're left fumbling in the dark, trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces. Every unanswered question becomes an itch they can't scratch, a loose thread they can't stop pulling. And the more they pull, the more tangled they become. Think of it this way: when you were always there, your value was hidden in plain sight. It was like oxygen, essential but unnoticed. Now that you've withdrawn, your absence is like holding their breath. They feel it everywhere. Every small action of yours, or lack thereof, sends their mind into overdrive. A missed text. They're refreshing their phone every 5 minutes, hoping it'll suddenly appear. A cryptic post on social media. They're analyzing every word, every emoji, trying to decode its meaning. The silence you've created is deafening, and it's driving them to distraction. Let's talk about the psychology behind this. People crave what they can't have. It's human nature. When something becomes unavailable, it triggers a deep-seated response in the brain, a need to understand, to acquire, to solve the mystery. Your silence has turned you into an enigma, and they can't help but fixate on it. They're replaying past conversations, wondering where it all went wrong, and imagining scenarios where they could have done things differently. It's like a detective trying to crack a case, but every clue leads them further into confusion. Here's the irony. They had all the answers before. They had access to your thoughts, your feelings, your time. But they took that access for granted, assuming it would always be there. Now that it's gone, they're realizing just how valuable it was. And let me tell you, my friends, that realization, it's not just humbling, it's haunting. But this isn't about them, it's about you. Your silence isn't a game, it's a boundary. You've stopped wasting your energy on explanations that fell on deaf ears. You've reclaimed your time, your focus, your peace. And while they're obsessing over what they lost, you're thriving in the space you've created for yourself. It's not easy to pull back, to let the silence do the talking. There's a part of you that might want to reach out, to explain, to reassure them. But don't. Let them sit with the questions. Let them feel the weight of their own curiosity. Because this isn't just a lesson for them, it's a transformation for you. You're no longer the open book they took for granted. You're the locked journal they'll never fully understand, and that's your power. Here's your affirmation. I am a mystery worth discovering. Say it. Write it. Believe it. Drop it in the comments as a declaration to yourself, to them, and to the world around you. Because you're no longer chasing. You're no longer explaining. You're standing tall, knowing your worth, and letting them wonder. And here's the best part. The obsession they're feeling now, it's only the beginning. As the questions grow louder in their mind, as the silence stretches on, the ripple effects will only deepen. Curious about what's coming next? Stay with me, my friends. The story isn't over. It's just getting started. Let's keep going. Number 5. The nightmare of someone else taking your place. Let's talk about fear, my friends. Not the fear of heights or spiders, but the kind that keeps someone awake at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every mistake they made. It's the fear of being replaced. And let me tell you, when you stop caring, when you pull back your energy and attention, that fear doesn't just creep into their mind. It storms in like a hurricane, leaving chaos in its wake. Here's the hard truth. Your indifference plants a seed in their thoughts, and that seed grows fast. It starts as a whisper. What if they've moved on? And quickly spirals into vivid, gut-wrenching images. They picture you laughing with someone else, holding hands with someone who appreciates you, living the life they foolishly took for granted. That's not just a bad dream for them, it's a full-blown nightmare. Imagine this. They're sitting there, scrolling through their phone, pretending they're unbothered. But every time their mind wanders, it paints a picture they can't escape. You, happy, glowing, and fully thriving, with someone else by your side. It's like watching their favorite song being played on someone else's playlist. They're haunted by what they lost, tormented by the idea that someone else gets to experience the warmth, love, and care they threw away. That thought doesn't just sting, it burns. Here's the thing about this fear. It's not just about losing you. It's about losing the version of you they could have had. It's about the opportunity they wasted, the connection they let slip through their fingers. And now they're panicking, because deep down they know they messed up. Their ego can't handle the idea of you finding happiness somewhere else. That's the kind of realization that shakes them to their core. Fear is a funny thing. It has a way of twisting reality, making them think the worst. Even if you're just focusing on yourself, they'll convince themselves you're with someone else. Every time your phone goes silent, every time you post a picture of yourself smiling, it feels like a dagger to their pride. They start imagining scenarios where they're no longer in the picture and someone else has taken their place. And let me tell you, my friends, that thought, it's unbearable for them. But let's be honest, it's not your job to ease their fears. The truth is, they created this reality the moment they decided to take you for granted. You gave them your light, your love, your attention, and they treated it like it was replaceable. Now, the tables have turned, and they're the ones sitting in the dark, wondering if they've been replaced. That's not your burden to carry, it's theirs to face. Here's where the power shift happens. Fear pushes them to claw their way back into your life. They'll try everything, reaching out with a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" text, liking your posts, or even showing up where they know you'll be. But here's the kicker. It's not because they've suddenly realized your worth. It's because they're scared. Scared of losing control. Scared of seeing you happy without them. Scared of being replaced by someone who treats you the way they never did. But this isn't about them. It's about you. This fear they're feeling. It's a reflection of their own insecurities, not your reality. You're not stepping back to make them feel afraid. You're stepping back because you finally realized that your energy deserves better. You've reclaimed your power, and they're left scrambling to figure out how to fix what they broke. And let's be real, my friends. It's tempting to reach out, to ease their fears, to reassure them. But don't. Let them sit with the reality they created. Let them feel the full weight of their fear, because that's where their lesson lies. They need to understand that your love isn't something they can take for granted, and your happiness isn't dependent on their approval. Here's your affirmation. I am irreplaceable. Say it, write it, believe it, drop it in the comments as a declaration to yourself, to them, and to the world around you. Because you are. You're not an option, a backup plan, or a consolation prize. You're the prize. And anyone who can't see that doesn't deserve a place in your life. But here's the best part, my friends. This fear of replacement. It's just the beginning. What happens when fear turns into desperation? What happens when they realize the control they thought they had is gone for good? Stick around, because what's coming next will leave them spinning even more. Let's keep going. It's about to get even more interesting. Number 6. Their ego can't handle your peace. They were the star of their own show, my friends, or so they thought. You were always there, playing the supporting role, making sure the spotlight shone just right, applauding their every move, and oh, how they loved it. But now the curtain's dropped, the applause has stopped, and they're left standing on an empty stage while you've moved on to headline your own story. Suddenly, they're not the star anymore. They're just a forgotten extra in the background of a life they no longer have access to. Here's where it stings the most. It's not just that you've stopped pouring energy into them, it's that you're thriving without them. Your peace, your undeniable, unshakable peace, is a mirror they can't avoid. And when they look into it, what do they see? Their own insignificance. Your calm, your glow, your ability to move forward without them forces them to confront the reality they've been avoiding. They weren't as irreplaceable as they thought. You see, people like to think they have power over you when you care too much. It feeds their ego to believe that you need them, that your happiness somehow depends on their presence. But when you detach, when you let go and focus on your own peace, that illusion crumbles. They're left standing in the rubble of their ego, wondering how they let someone so valuable slip away. Here's the truth they don't want to admit. Nothing hurts more than realizing they overestimated their importance in your life. They thought they were the anchor keeping you steady, but now they see you sailing smoothly on your own. And let me tell you, my friends, that realization, It hits harder than any argument ever could. Think of it like this. They've been walking through life with a mirror that only reflects what they want to see. Your peace shatters that mirror, showing them the truth. It's not about revenge or making them feel small. It's about you stepping into your power. As the Stoics remind us, your peace is your greatest strength. It's a shield that protects you from the chaos of others, and a beacon that lights your path forward. But let's be real, it's not easy to reach this place of peace. It takes courage to stop chasing, to stop explaining, to stop trying to fix things that aren't yours to fix. Yet when you do, when you finally let go of the weight they placed on your shoulders, you discover something incredible: freedom. The kind of freedom that lets you grow, shine, and thrive without needing their validation. Here's your affirmation: my peace is my power. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a reminder to yourself, to them, and to anyone watching that you're no longer tied to someone else's story. You're writing your own, and it's a bestseller. And this, my friends, is just the beginning. Because as they struggle with the cracks in their ego, the next wave of realizations is going to hit even harder. Stick around. We're not done yet. Let's keep going. Number 7. Why they'll beg for what they took for granted. They thought they had all the time in the world, didn't they? They thought you'd wait forever, stuck in the same place, endlessly available, while they figured out their life, or worse, took you for granted. But then, my friends, something changed. Your indifference flipped the hourglass, and suddenly the sand started slipping away. Now they're scrambling, desperate to grab at something they can no longer control. It's funny, really. They went from feeling like the one who held all the cards to realizing they're the gambler down to their last chip. They're sitting at the table, sweating, clutching that final bit of leverage, hoping to get back in the game. But here's the kicker. The deck is stacked against them. Why? Because you've reclaimed your power. You've stopped playing a game they thought they could win by default. This is what happens when someone realizes too late that they took the wrong person for granted. They're replaying every missed opportunity, every time they brushed off your efforts, every moment they gave less than they should have. And now they'll do whatever it takes to claw their way back into your life. They'll send that late-night text. They'll casually bump into you in places they know you'll be. They'll post cryptic things on social media, hoping to catch your attention. It's not effort born out of love or respect. It's desperation. Let me tell you, my friends, desperation has a certain smell to it. It reeks of panic, of fear, of regret. They're not coming back because they suddenly realized your worth in some noble, epiphany-filled moment. No, they're coming back because your absence has left a void they can't fill. And that void isn't just about missing you. It's about missing the comfort, the attention, the care you provided. They're not chasing you because they value you. They're chasing you because they don't want to face the reality of losing you. But here's where the empowerment kicks in. This isn't about their return. It's about your choice. Let me repeat that for the folks in the back. It's about your choice. They'll crawl back, sure, but you're no longer the person who waits around for breadcrumbs. You're the one holding the door, deciding whether it stays open or closes for good. And that's real power. You see, their desperation isn't a testament to their love. It's a reflection of their fear. Fear that you've moved on. Fear that they've been replaced. Fear that they've lost access to the best thing they had. But here's the thing. You don't owe them anything. Not a conversation, not closure, and certainly not another chance. This is about you choosing what serves you, what aligns with your growth, and what respects your worth. Here's your affirmation. I choose what aligns with my worth. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a reminder to yourself, to them, and to anyone watching that you're not a backup plan, a safety net, or a consolation prize. You're the prize, and not everyone gets to win it. And here's the best part. Their desperation is just the beginning. The real shift? That's when they realize begging won't undo the damage they've done. Stick with me, because what's coming next will flip the script even further. Let's keep going, my friends. It's only getting better. Number 8. Indifference is the ultimate revenge. Let me ask you something, my friends. Have you ever heard a door slam? It's loud, sure, shocking even, but the echo fades quickly. Now imagine a door that's quietly closed and locked, with no explanation, no goodbye. That silence, that unanswered question, it doesn't fade. It lingers, haunts, gnaws at the back of their mind. That's the power of your indifference. It's not about the dramatic exit. It's about the void you leave behind, one they can't fill no matter how hard they try. Walking away without a word isn't weakness. It's the ultimate statement. They expect an argument, a fight, a plea for understanding. They're ready for the drama because that's what people assume they deserve when they've pushed someone too far. But when you simply walk away, no fireworks, no explanations, it leaves them with nothing but silence. And that silence, it's deafening. It's louder than any goodbye you could have given. Here's the thing about indifference. It's not about revenge in the way most people think of it. You're not out to hurt them, to make them feel small, or to play games. No, my friends, this is about freeing yourself. Revenge, in the Stoic sense, isn't about inflicting pain on someone else. It's about removing their power to affect you. It's about choosing your peace over their chaos and stepping away from a dynamic that no longer serves you. When you stop engaging, when you choose not to fight, they're left with themselves, and that's where the real reckoning begins. You're not there to justify, explain, or argue. You're simply gone. And in your absence, they're forced to face the weight of their own actions. They're left stewing in the silence of their own making, replaying every moment, every decision, every mistake. Your indifference becomes a mirror, reflecting back everything they've been avoiding. Think of it this way. When you argue, when you fight, you're giving them something to hold on to. Even in anger, you're still engaging. But when you walk away without a word, you're taking away the one thing they relied on, your energy. And nothing unsettles someone more than realizing they no longer have access to you. Now, let's get real. It's not easy to choose silence. Every instinct might scream at you to get closure, to say your piece, to make them understand. But here's the truth. You don't need to. Your absence says everything. The void you leave behind is louder than any argument, and the peace you gain from walking away is priceless. Here's your affirmation. My indifference is my strength. Say it, write it, believe it. Drop it in the comments as a declaration to yourself, to them, and to anyone watching that you're done wasting your energy where it isn't valued. And let me tell you, my friends, this is just the beginning. The silence you leave behind, it's not just an ending, it's the start of their realization. Curious about what happens when they're left alone with the weight of your absence? Stick with me, it's about to get even more interesting. Let's keep going. They came back because your indifference exposed their dependence. But here's the twist. You've already outgrown the cycle. You've stepped into your worth, reclaimed your power, and shown them that your energy isn't something they can take for granted. Remember this, my friends. You are the prize, not the consolation. Let them learn the hard way that once you stop caring, there's no going back. When you walk away with your head held high, the world takes notice. Stay the sun, shining bright, and let them live in the shadows. If this resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep rising together.